Here we go again.
No, not again.
You've been fooled.
How long have we been doing this?
Once more unto the bridge.
Again, until we're both dead.
Hello and welcome to You've Seen It Before, movie reviews and connections in mind. Avengers Infinity War has finally hit theaters. It is the third movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, directed by the Russo brothers. Their previous ventures include Captain America the Winter Soldier and Captain America Civil War. And this is, in fact, the part one of the culmination of 10 years worth of Marvel Cinematic Universe. There have been 17 films up to this point, and this film features just about every one of those characters. There are a few names missing, of course, but this film features the real cinematic appearance of Thanos, the Mad Titan, and his quest to unite all of the Infinity Stones, a power so strong that once all combined, they have the power to literally wipe out half all life in the universe. And it's up to the Avengers and all the other Marvel heroes to stop him. Now, this video review, of course, will contain spoilers of Avengers Infinity War, so as always, if you have not seen Avengers Infinity War yet and want to wait until you have, which I really recommend at this point, stop the video at this point and come back later. But with these things in mind, though, let's begin. So Avengers Infinity War, as I said, is the culmination of 10 years worth of Marvel Cinematic Universe. 17 films, in fact. This film features Thanos on his quest to reunite, to collect all of the Infinity Stones. Each one is powerful in their own right, on their own, but when combined, they have significant power. And up until this point, we've seen 5 of those Infinity Stones, and we know where they are. The 6th one, the Soul Stone, the location is revealed in this film. And once Thanos gets them, he is essentially the most powerful being in the universe. Now, there are definitely other films and TV series which feature fetch quest style missions in which a character must go find ancient artifacts that are powerful in their own right, but when combined, they have even more power. And one of the examples that I came up with was the animated cartoon series Jackie Chan Adventures, in which specifically the story arc with the 12 Chinese talismans, and each one has specific power on their own, and on their own they can do significant damage, but combined they have the power to essentially wipe out the world, or rule the world, as the case may be. And it's up to Jackie Chan to stop the villain Shendu from capturing all of these talismans, because if he does, he can essentially rule the world, and it'd be bad news for everyone. Next, and this is kind of a surprising comparison to be made, but hear me out on this. The main villain, Thanos, this film does a great job in exploring his motivations for why he wants to find the Infinity Stones. More than just power, he sees himself as the savior of the universe, in fact, because his planet, Titan, came up, and they overpopulated, they destroyed themselves, and he thinks that by wiping out half of the universe's population, that will restore balance, and the universe can exist in peace. And he is willing to sacrifice pretty much anything in order to achieve this goal, whether or not and some things are very painful. Most notably, when he comes face to face with what it will eventually take in order for him to get the Soul Stone, namely the sacrifice of his daughter Gamora, who he actually does care about, and it pains him to actually kill her, but in the end he ends up doing it, and he goes about on his plans. Now, there's a comparison to be made here with Ralph, in fact, from Wreck-It Ralph. And just go along with me on my logic here. Ralph in that film is a villain in that video game world, and he wants more than what he can get, and he's willing to essentially destroy the natural order of things in order, in his world, in order to get what he wants. Now, and he is, of course, he is a villain, but we sympathize with him. He wants that. Of course, this isn't a perfect comparison, but you can see where I'm getting at. Both these the characters have motivations that they want to essentially do to achieve something, either balance in the universe or become a good guy, and or get a medal in Wreck-It Ralph's case. And they are willing to sacrifice a lot of things, like their supposed friends, their family, and their world, in order to achieve this goal. Finally, this has to do with the film's ending, and the fact that we knew going into this film that prior to this to the release of Infinity War, there was talk uh, of of splitting the Infinity War story in two. And it would be part 1 and part 2, the Avengers 3 and Avengers 4. They eventually decided to just call this Infinity War, and then they have yet to release the Avengers 4 title. But the way the Avengers Infinity War ends, it is actually a cliffhanger. We see that Thanos actually succeeds in his mission. He destroys half of the of the universe's population, and he goes to live out his life, and the movie ends. And then we're left with this cliffhanger as of, well, what happens next? We want to find out. But of course, we know that there is an Avengers 4 coming out. We know that there's Captain Marvel and Ant-Man and the Wasp coming out, which both happened before this, of course. But we know that there's an Avengers 4 coming out that's going to deal with what happens next. So we know, and plus, we know that there are certain characters who die that are probably most likely not going to stay dead. We know that they're not going to stay dead. For a little thing, because Disney wants your money. They're not going to kill off everyone of their most successful franchise at this point. So we know that people are going to come back. This is a certain kind of a feeling that we know that there are other film franchises that do this, and we feel like the first part is like, well, I'm not sorry that I saw it, but a lot of things that happen, it's like we know there's just going to be reversed in the next one, and similarly, I compare this to Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Well, really the first film that we saw that was really split one story into two with this in the modern era. And we knew going into Deathly Hallows Part 1 that there was going to be a Part 2, and if we read the books, we knew what was going to happen. And it was really just a question of, all right, where is they going to end it, and what's going to happen, and how are they going to depict certain events that we know happened in the book. And when Deathly Hallows Part 1 ended, it really just felt kind of empty in a way. We saw the last shot in Deathly Hallows Part 1 is Voldemort gets the Elder Wand, and he shoots that lightning beam into the sky, and the movie ends sort of on a downer note, but of course we know, it's like, well, that's not going to happen. But similarly, in Avengers Infinity War, Thanos gets his happy ending, but we know that he's not going to stay that way for that long. So, in a sense, it just kind of comes off feeling like it's sort of pointless in a way, because we know that everything's kind of going to get reversed at a certain point. And we know that Thanos is going to get his comeuppance in Avengers 4, so what's the kind of the point of that? There's definitely a lack of stakes with this. So those are my main comparison points with Avengers Infinity War, and I've already covered one of my certain issues with it. There's a definite lack of stakes in this, and really the main thing that I got out of this, and we realized after the fact, was the characters who die at the end of this film are pretty much, at least the characters that we know after Thanos snaps his fingers, are the ones we know are going to survive going in. Think about it. Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther, Spider-Man, we know that they're going to keep going. So, we know that they're coming back. We already know that there's going to be a Spider-Man Homecoming 2 coming out at some point in the future. We know, so there really is no point in thinking that he's going to stay dead. So there's really a lack of stakes in this film, and that's kind of the big issue that I have with it. And another issue that I had with this film was it wasn't quite as bad as Thor Ragnarok, but there are certain instances where the film definitely gets a little too humorous in a way, and lingers on a joke for way too long. One example in particular sticks out is after the scene in which Gamora and Star-Lord are on the Milano discussing. Gamora asks Quill to kill her should she be captured by Thanos, and he agrees. It's a very emotional moment. It's a very sad moment, and it's interrupted by Drax eating a chip, which is funny, but it lingers on that joke for way too long, almost as if the movie's saying, "Whoa, that was dark. Let's lighten things up for a little bit. We're having fun, right? Right?" And then it moves on. It's like there are a couple instances like that where it just lingers on so long, where it's telling me as an audience member, "All right, I think you're just making me feel better." Just because I want to actually digest what I just saw. I want to digest Gamora's death. I want to digest Spider-Man holding Tony Stark at the end and saying, "Please don't let me die." I want to digest these things. And there are certain instances where it's like, all right, just let's make a joke out of it and move on. All right, whatever. So, like I said, it's not as bad as Thor Ragnarok, but there are instances like that. But overall, I definitely enjoyed this film. This is everything I wanted to have happen in the culmination of 10 years of Marvel movies. And one of the main things that I was concerned about going into this was, would they be able to pull it off? Would certain characters get more screen time than others, and some would be superfluous? Aside from the characters who kind of already were superfluous, like War Machine and Falcon at this point, really everyone gets their due, and it's amazing, and it's great. I love seeing, my favorite part is the matching up characters that who have never been together before, and seeing the dynamic between them, especially the dynamic and the second group of people, namely Spider-Man, Tony Stark, Doctor Strange, and the Guardians of the Galaxy. And that's amazing. I love those character dynamics between them, and also the pairing of Rocket, Groot, and Thor was also really great. If anything, the third group of people, the people on Earth, namely Captain America, Scarlet Witch, Vision, Black Widow, Falcon, War Machine, Black Panther. That group, it was great to see them all fight together, but it didn't have the same kind of dynamic that I wanted to see. I'd already seen them work together to one extent or another, and I liked the newer bits better. So, but let's not dilute the point. It's a great film. You should go see this film. I will caution you, however, if this was your first Marvel film and you were lost beyond all belief, there's a reason for that, and it's really due down to the fact that aside from the one scene in the beginning just briefly covering all the Infinity Stones, there really isn't a lot of exposition going on in this. And the certain characters, like, if you don't know all these characters' backstories going into this, you're going to be so lost. Certain things will not have significance for you at all. And really, this should not have been your first Marvel film if it was. If you've seen all the films going into this, you're going to have an amazing time. So yeah, there's my review of Avengers Infinity War. Let me know what you thought down below. I appreciate whatever audience I can get. Thank you all for watching, and just remember, there's nothing new under the sun, and yes, you have seen it before.